Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along or you've just seen the last video on the game ideas, you'll know that I have been mulling over 3 potential game ideas for my next big project. And well, the decision has been made, and I'm very excited to announce that my next game that I'm going to be working on is the Dinosaur roguelite. Now, I know you're probably itching to hear why I picked this one out of 3, but trust me, I've got plenty to say about it, and we'll be diving into the game design, we're going to the art style, and at the end of the video, I'll be showing off the prototype as well as going into what is the plans for the future. So stick around, you will not want to miss it. So to start off with, I wanted to take us to the middle note page that I had for the last video. I'm not sure if I actually showed this off in the last video, but this is basically all of the different design or choices and reasoning and links as to why I went with the 3 different options as the 3 options. And I'm now going to basically say why I chose the the Dinosaur roguelite instead of the Dinosaur Tower Defense and instead of the Biblically Accurate Angels horror game. So I'm going to start off by just quickly going over why I didn't choose each one. So to start off with Dinosaur Tower Defense. Main reasoning for this I covered in the last video, but to summarize it, the scope for this, brilliant. It's small. I could easily get this done in at least 6 months, and I could get away with doing a low poly art style. I think just in general, low poly art styles seem to work quite well, taking Thronefall, for example. But the biggest issue in why I didn't choose this is the return is very minuscule. If I just go onto this graph from howtomarketyourgame.com, Tower Defense is lower than the survival, this is the horror games, and it's lower than the roguelite and roguelikes at a very, it's not as many as made. Like if we look at the 3D platformers, this was an awful choice, my God. And even I imagine a 2D platformer, Jesus Christ. But anyway, it's worth Battle Royale down there, but Tower Defense, there's a lot that get produced. It doesn't really have that high in earnings. It's probably about $2,000 on a median, and that's for you still put a lot of time into that, and I just don't think the return is going to be worth it. And also, I'm not going to lie, I will come to this in a little bit, but the Dinosaur roguelite is basically just the upgraded version of this. But moving on, the Biblically Accurate Angels horror game, reasoning I did not choose it. Well, to start off with, again, this would have been the lowest or the smallest scope. I could have probably even done this in 4 months, maybe even 3. But again, it's just the case of the return. I want to work on a big project that takes about a year. I did 6 months for the last one, and I want to really spend this year making something that's going to be hopefully a hit. But as you can see, looking back at the graph, the survival horror, it's not a bad idea to do it. It's definitely still better than the Tower Defense. Only issue with it is it has actually got a little bit more of a saturated market than the Tower Defense, but I think that's okay because the median is almost double. Actually, I'm looking at that. It doesn't really look like double, but it's certainly higher nonetheless. But regardless of that, I then thought, okay, I don't really want to do these 2. So how about this one? And I'm going to change this from roguelike to roguelite, and I'll explain why in a second. But I decided to go with the Dinosaur roguelite because of several key factors. Number 1, the scope. It's the biggest scope for sure. It will take around a year, maybe a year and a half to make, but I'm okay to spend that time because if we go up to the graph, if you take a look right here, we have roguelikes, we have roguelites, and we have a roguelike deck builder. The roguelike deck builder is unbelievably high. That's probably because, well, there's not many that exist, and, the ones that do exist are things like Balatro, which made millions. But going back to the roguelike and roguelites, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. According to this, same amount of games get produced on both sides, and although the roguelike earns probably 100 more on average to roguelites, my game is just a roguelite even, and I want to make it that instead. Now, my reasoning for making a roguelite rather than a roguelike is that a roguelike is a case of, well, it's all this, but permadeath. As soon as you die, you get reset completely. I don't really like that concept. I think that it is too punishing for the kind of game that I want to make. And if I don't enjoy the game, then I don't particularly think other people will. But obviously, that's not a major factor to go off of. But my game would work better with the idea that I have if you can start again, or when you complete a run and you die, you can start again with a little bit of a boost, like a 5% attack increase if you get certain rewards in the previous run. I just think that would be better for progression and replayability. So that's generally why the roguelite was the better option. I'm also looking at these two games as big inspirations. Nine Kings and Thronefall, both indie games made by very, very small teams. I'm an individual making these games, so I need to think about that as well. And also, these games were very profitable, and I'm more leaning towards the Thronefall design aspect. I'll go on to why in a bit. And as for Nine Kings, they both just kind of represent the general concept. Like, I'm basically mushing these together, and instead of medieval, I'm going with dinosaurs. Even though medieval does seem to be working, but that's working now. This game's going to come out in a year and a half. I don't know if it's going to be working then. So I wanted to go with something new. Also, one last thing to mention is that there already exists a dinosaur tower defense game, and many dinosaur games like it. So firstly, lots of dinosaur games exist, and they usually do well. So dinosaurs probably a good theme to choose. But not tower defense because it exists and it doesn't do as well as I would want my own game to do. Whereas roguelites, there exist roguelites, but there doesn't exist a dinosaur roguelite as far as I'm aware. If there is one, then let me know. But as far as I'm aware, there isn't one. But that is the reasoning for why I chose the dinosaur roguelite out of the three options. If you agree with me, if you don't, then leave a comment or even join the Discord to talk about it. Anyway, moving on. I now want to go into, okay, I've chosen my idea. I now need to start designing the idea. So the next part is going to be the game design and also choosing an art style. All right, so game design. Now, I chose Adobe Illustrator just because it's my preferred choice to do this kind of stuff on and to design stuff on. So that just explains why I'm on Adobe Illustrator. But let's get straight into it. I always wanted to preface that these are very drafty game design. I don't think you need to really worry about your game designs looking that pretty, as long as the general concept is conveyed, at least to yourself. So I'm going to start with the main menu. This is a very simple main menu. It has continue, new game, quit, and the logo. But the big thing that I want to talk about that is different is the survival store, or whatever it will be called. Basically, after completing a run, and depending how far you get into the run, you'll be awarded a currency that you can use to spend in the survival store that will allow you to buy things that will help you progress further into each run, such as a 5% increase in damage, an extra building, something like that. Or maybe even extra clear space, which we'll come on to pretty much now. So that's the main menu. Pretty simple layout. I don't really want the shape builder currently. Now, if you think about Thronefall, it has a day and night cycle system. The day is when you have your preparation phase, and the night is when you get attacked by the AI enemies, pretty much. I'm using that same system, but adding a little bit more onto it. So, as you can see, this is a grid. What is the grid, you ask? Well, the grid is, but these each part of the grid, each box in the grid represents a forest piece. At the start of each day, the day one, you are given a card and you place a card down somewhere around here. But once night settles, you'll be attacked by dinosaurs from some area somewhere in the forest. Once you defeat the dinosaurs, you then move on to day two. Day two is when it involves the forest clear mechanic, which I really want to talk about. Each day, you are given the option to clear a piece or 3 pieces of forest. So 1 to 3. This I have chosen to do. I'll explain what it does first. When you clear a piece of a forest, it opens that area up and it gives you 3 cards to choose from. So if I was to remove this piece of forest, I get a pop-up of 3 different cards. I can choose 1 card that I can then use to fortify my base. The downside is when you clear a piece of forest, it increases the amount of enemies that are going to spawn. So if I clear this forest, I'm going to get like an extra 5 trikes, 5 dinos, Dilophosaurs, and Parasitheriums or something like that. I don't know. So you're going to get more dinosaurs coming from the forest each night. Now, you have to destroy 1, but you can destroy 2 or 3 to get more and to clear more space out if you want more space. And what this does is it means you can literally choose the difficulty per night. So if I start the game off and I want to go take a slow approach, I'll only destroy 1 so that the dinosaur count stays pretty low. But then if I'm going for a speed run, I'm just going to do 3 every day and hope to God that I get good cards that I can then place around to defend against the mass amounts of dinosaurs that will then come. Now, that's the forest clear mechanic. I hope that was quite good. I think that's the unique selling point to this game. I don't know many games that have a kind of like this kind of difficulty system where you choose your own difficulty by, it's like the risk reward. I mean, everyone can choose a difficulty level, but not in that way, I'm assuming. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is let's go back to day 1. When you spawn in, you have your headquarters or tribal hut surrounded by forest, and you have these 3 things here: defense, attack, farm. Now, defense, these are each inventories, so I can open up the defense inventory and it will show me my defense cards, my attack cards if I open the attack inventory, and my farm cards if I open the farm inventory. In the inventory, let's say this is how the game will start. You'll only have 1 card, you'll have this how many of the cards you'll have, and I click on this and I can place it somewhere on the map. And then as I unlock more cards, they will appear here. Moving on to then today, what each card does. So defense cards are going to be things like turrets and things that are going to shoot the dinosaurs and kill them. You then have attack cards, which are going to be like spell cards. So an earthquake spell I can drop and it's going to slow dinosaurs down, for example. There will also be a taming mechanic. So if you get a dinosaur down to below 50% health, you can click on them and they will come over to your side and you will be given in its place either a nest card, or you just get the dinosaur that you can then place somewhere and it will spawn in a friendly one each night. Then you have a farm card. The farm card is going to be the thing that increases the amount of meat you get. Now, where's the meat going to come from in the first place? When you defeat a dinosaur, it's going to drop, say, 5 meat or something along those lines. And with that meat, you can then go into the headquarters during the day cycle and you can spend your meat on cards. So that is the second way of getting cards. It would scale. So say start of the game, you'll only probably get 5 meat, 1 meat per dinosaur. Mid-game, you killed a bunch of dinosaurs, you get better cards for more expense. And 500 meat would be for like the ultra cards, kind of that kind of system to keep so there is some kind of progression in difficulty and reward. And this is what the night 2, you've got all these new cards, you've destroyed 2 bits of forest, so you've added on to the dinosaur count that will attack you during the night. Saying with that, I believe that is everything I can cover. Oh, sorry, going back to the farm card. These farm cards, you place down the building and it will multiply the amount of meat you get per night. So 1 dinosaur, instead of giving 1 bit of meat, will give 2 with this placed down. And that's kind of, that is the game design I have currently. And it will repeat until you've cleared the entire map, but I will show that more in the prototype. Now, I'm going to go into Milanote now, and I'm going to go and show you guys the art side of things. So before I reveal this, it's going to be, I don't expect a massive mood board. This is literally, I already knew what art style I was going with before I made the mood board. But the mood board was just to cement it and like solidify that idea that I had. So we're going with a low poly art style. Now, I feel like this is something that pretty much everyone does, at least to begin with. And my specific reasoning for why this is fine to use is I looked at these and thought, they work fine. These look great. I would happily play a game myself if the quality was of this standard. And it's also mainly to do with 2 things. Number 1, my own skill level. I think making dinosaurs that are super high graphics will take a massive hit to the scope. It will mean the scope will go from 1 year maybe 2 or 3, and I'm not spending that much time on game because I don't want to get plugged down into a game for the rest of my life and increase the risk, basically. Secondly, Thronefall uses a low poly art style, and it made over 4 million. So I don't think art style really affects that much. As long as it's good low poly, it should be fine. And also, and the third thing is it is better for the engine. It means the game will run smoother and it will be less demanding. And hopefully it will be a less storage as well. Because looking at these look great. I really like the look of these. And I just see these working in the game really well. So there's a quick explanation of the art style. Not really much more to say about that. That's what I'm going with. And so yeah, that is the game design and that is the art style. Now, for the fun part, I'm going to open up the Unreal project and I'm going to show you guys the prototype. All right, welcome to the prototype for the Dinosaur Roguelite. I haven't figured out a title, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Now, before you make a judgment, I've been watching a lot of videos and most of them suggest the same thing, and that is to not over polish your prototype. I literally only did these for the sake of having something that is somewhat visually accessible compared to what it was beforehand. This forest section was a block. This headquarters was a block. The dinosaurs were a block. And I think that's really boring to watch. And so this is why I've gone with this. Now, this is not what the final game is going to look like. Obviously, it's a prototype. So just bear that in mind when I'm going through this. So this is the general layout of the map. Each of these, as you can see, that is a section, as I was saying in the game design bit. We're just going to go into it. So it uses a top-down controller, like an RTS kind of city builder kind of thing. I went with this rather than like staying on the floor just purely for the sake of being able to place stuff down and do all the city. It's a very much more city building game and it will not have fighting elements in it. At least not with the player directly fighting anybody. But currently, everything is nice and smooth. There is no day and night cycle, so this is another thing that's not in the game yet. But let's just play the game as it should be. So we have our headquarters and we have our 2 open spots as well as surrounded by forest. Now, this is to teach the player or to give a general idea of where the strategy will come in. If I were to remove this, dinosaurs are going to straight away come from this direction and they're going to very quickly reach my base because of the short distance between them. If I destroy this forest, I give myself time to put a defense up before they get to my base. So I'll just demonstrate that. I destroy the forest, I select the defense card, I open up my defense inventory, I select the defense card, and I put it down. And there is arrows coming up, but I think I did it too late. Yeah, I think I'm going to lose this. Well, that's terribly embarrassing. I apologize. Let me do that properly. So I took too long there. This is not going to be an issue in the main game because you'll have the day to set up and you won't be attacked. But if I do it quickly, select, put that there. It has much more time. I'll do it again as well. And it destroys the trike. And I'll put another one up. Okay, I have recorded this already and it went a lot better than this. Okay, it's not really going well, guys. Oh my God. Okay. Try again. Okay. Clearly the issue is I need to put the defense tower here. Okay. And does that solve the issue? There we go. Right. I've got a leg up now. Christ alive, that was difficult. But as you can see, I put the defense down. It fires at the trikes. I know, and again, I know the models are fantastic. I spent loads of time on them. But I can continue to this. So we've destroyed this piece of forest. That's like a percentage of the level has been cleared. In the real game, this will stay cleared, but the dinosaur count will remain the same. So every time I destroy a forest, it adds the dinosaur count. And when I kill them, it doesn't reset that count. It keeps it the same and pass it on to the next night. So if I want to beat the game, I've got to clear this entire forest. And I can't just go around, I can't click on everything and win the game that way. What I instead want to do is do it one at a time pretty much and put all of my turrets around the HQ for now. I'll probably change my tab. Okay, I was going to say, that was almost a bug there. And I can put all of these around the headquarters. Oh, I haven't set to building place. There we go. And as you can see, it's destroying all of the try incoming trikes. And we've almost cleared this entire section out. Let's just clear a bit more out. And there we go. So this entire section is now basically cleared from Triceratopses. So I can probably put some farm stuff here when I have the ability to. I only have this one defense card, this one enemy in the game currently. But we can start clearing out a little bit more stuff and building up our defenses around this side of the base. And now we're completely surrounded. The trikes can get through, by the way, if they're strong enough. But these are now I probably won the game here, I think. I think so, yeah. So if you have to kind of go slowly, and this kind of shows off the difficulty thing where if I destroy this entire section now, I would lose because I wouldn't have enough time to react to all of the things coming. If I might be okay just because I have put a load of things up. But with each forest you move, the difficulty goes up, but you also get more to deal with that. Oh my god, they are getting in. Okay, see, that's what I mean. I shouldn't have done that. I almost won the game. But that's basically the prototype. That is the general game loop complete. Ignoring the day-night cycle, ignoring the lack of meat, ignoring the fact there's only one defense, only one card in the game. But all of the foundations here are pretty set up. And I just wanted to show you guys off some of the blueprints that I use. So for the RTS cam, I just had to follow a tutorial for that. Here's all that. I'm not going to really show it off in much detail, purely because it's kind of unnecessary. There's the tutorial out that can explain it a lot better. I've never done an RTS cam before. This stuff I did myself. So if you press spacebar, adds a widget to the screen. I think down here I did something as well. Set game mode and UI. I didn't really understand that, to be completely honest with you. And then this bit is the building system. Yeah, so this is the bit that mostly did myself. So when I press the left mouse button, it checks, can I place the watchtower? Well, where does this come into account? It needs to check, do I have any watchtowers to place? If yes, then I can go ahead and do that. If no, then no more watchtowers. And it uses a line trace system to find the spot to place them. And then it spawns the watchtower at the place and removes one from the overall count. And that's general system. Moving on, we have the watchtower, but I've not really commented on this one yet. It's a pretty simple turret system. There's not much to add to this. It gets the location of the enemy and rotates to it and fires a bullet projectile. We then have the forest, which is you destroy it, it spawns the enemy spawner, and it then activates the card selection screen. Finally, we have the bullet, which is a projectile movement that also uses a homing component. And it spawns a Niagara effect system, which makes the trail as well. And when it hits a trike, it takes 25 health off it. So there's not much else to really explain. The trike is just an AI. It gets the location of the headquarters and moves to it. And overall, that's all like the technical stuff, I suppose you could say. So that is the prototype in its current form. There are a lot of things that obviously need to be added to it, but as it stands, this is technically a complete game loop. I start the game and there is a win and lose condition, as well as gameplay in the middle. To win, clear the whole forest. If you lose, if your HQ gets destroyed. That's the game. That is the game as it stands. So I will now go into what's coming next. If you wanted to play the prototypes, when I get to a point where they are a little bit more interesting, then feel free to join the Discord. I will put all the playtests there for anyone to test out, really. But yeah, I'll go into what's coming next and also some stuff to do with like a YouTube upload schedule and stuff like that. So if you're interested in what's coming next, then stay tuned for the next part. Right, so what is coming next? There are a few things that I'm just going to quickly list off that I need to add pretty quickly to get the game into a more playable state, into a lowest viable, minimum viable product. Is that the word for it? I'm not really sure. So number one is I need to add in the farm and attack card mechanics. The attack cards are a case of they give you something to do during the level. So the first one will be like an earthquake system where I can, when I'm actually playing the game, I can select a piece of the ground near the trike and I can activate a area of attack area of effect system with a spell or something like that. And then with the farm cards, with the farm cards, actually, I need to get that meat drop system in the game. That is pretty simple. When a trike dies, add 5 meat to a meat counter or something like that. And then the farm will multiply that at the end of the level, which will then include making a day and night cycle, which will come into, which I'll talk about in a second. I then also want to add in the main menu system. Probably won't do anything with the survival store yet. That's kind of a end game type of thing, because it will probably just be a case of when you get to the end of a level, add 5 currency of whatever kind that you can then spend in the survival store. So that's a pretty simple thing to add. And then the actual survival store stuff should be okay to implement, I think. We'll see. And then the biggest thing that I need to add is I need to add in the wave format. So I need to add in the day and night cycle. During the day, I want to make it so the player has the time they need to build and prepare and do the forest clearing, and then have the night for when the enemies come. Because currently, as it stands, the prototype doesn't really show off that whole cycle system. And that is a really important part to pace the game. You should have tension at the night and then relief during the day, so you can balance it rather than just tension. That's more of a retention thing as well. So that should be pretty simple to add in as well. I'm currently debating between doing it so at the end of the day, whether you have a timer for the day or whether you can choose when to start the next night. Maybe I'll start with that and we'll see how it looks. But that's just the general next 3-4 things that I need to do to make the game more playable. So expect that for the next devlog. I should be able to do it for the next devlog. I'm going on holiday at the end of the month, but I will talk more about that at that point. I hope you can't hear that drilling. It has been going on for weeks. It is so annoying. But anyway, moving on from that, I then want to talk about the YouTube upload schedule. So this is kind of an open question to you guys. If you wanted to, if anyone cares too much or is interested, I think, oh my God, I can't think with this drilling going on in my head. I apologize. This is the waffle section of the video. Anyway, currently as it stands, I wanted to make a video every Monday, but I don't think that's going to work very well if I want to do a devlog every Monday, because there's just not particularly much to add after a week's worth of work. I mean, it takes me a week to do the updates and a week to make the video. So yeah, as it stands, that wouldn't really work. However, doing one every 2 weeks is what I'm going to do. The question that I wanted to ask you guys is whether doing a video every week would still be good. Like every other week where there's not a devlog, I can do a ranking video, I can do a whatever video. If you have any ideas, then feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear. Apart from that, I think that is everything up to date. Apologies for the waffleness. I have actually already recorded this entire video, which should be about 40 minutes. It doesn't sound like that long, but I then realized when editing that I didn't actually activate record audio. So it was 40 minutes of silence, which was really painful. But anyway, that is the end of this devlog. I hope you've enjoyed. If you want to stay up with more updates, then the Discord is in the link below. If you wanted to check out my other game, Powerful, it will also be in the link below. We've got a good community going currently on Discord. It's really nice to finally be talking to a bigger group as well, I think. Add some more dynamic conversations. So if you're interested in that, then the Discord link will also be below. I think I already said that. But yeah, I'll end it there and I'll stop waffling. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or evening. I will see you guys in the next video.